While it's not nearly the biggest by size or population,
This might play pretty good, huh?
Ohio has produced more Pro Football Hall of Famers than almost every other state. Two of them still compete a half-century after their first chance encounter, back when they were both Buckeye boys.
Yes, I was a fan of the Ohio State Buckeyes, knew Dick LeBeau and that championship team that they had, national championship team I might add. Yes, I would say safely that I was born and bred to be a Buckeye. My last year at Ohio State, Dick LeBeau had come back to school to finish up his degree. Ironically, we were paired together as lab partners in a class that was called physiology. He was an outstanding quarterback in the National Football League.
United's pass is for the Colts, but it's Lion Dick LeBeau making the reception for Detroit.
But I was a little bit too afraid, too shy to ask a question of him about that level, how he did certain things. I was in awe of Dick LeBeau, yes.
And of course, I had known about Paul because of his high school accomplishments, and he was going to Ohio State. I didn't know that he even knew particularly who I was, but I figured probably someday if I could keep my job long enough in the pros, I was going to be playing against him anyhow.
In 1964, Paul Warfield went from Columbus to Cleveland when he was drafted by his hometown NFL team. Only a few weeks into his rookie season with the Browns, Warfield had an unexpected reunion against Detroit.
The first time I played against Detroit, the outside linebacker tells me, if you try to release inside, I'm going to kill you. And so the guy looking over his shoulder is Dick LeBeau. That's right. If you try to release, I'm going to kill you too. So here's my old lab partner, and we're being reunited for the first time in several months.
Anybody asks me who was the hardest guy you ever had to cover, I always say Paul, because he made me change too many theories that I had about coverage and what to key and what to look at. Anytime I thought I had it pretty much figured out, when I'd look up, he wouldn't be where I thought he was going to be.
Certainly people figuring out what you're trying to do and knowing what you can do in certain situations present more problems to a receiver, I thought, than just physical skills, speed and strength and that sort of thing. Dick's forte, I thought, was a combination of those things, but he brought an intellectual side of the game that I respected. The memorable one, of course, was the hit, obviously.
Warfield was stunned on the play by a fellow Ohio Stater, 11-year veteran Dick LeBeau.
It was a clean hit. I mean, that was the kind of player Dick was. That's why I respected him so much. Tough player, but clean, certainly fight you into the end.
I always had a play or two here or there against most people. Some games, you know, better than others. But you never licked your fingers on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday saying, oh boy, I get to cover Warfield this week.
Dick was one of the greatest defensive backs of that era in the 1960s. Paul, obviously, one of the greatest receivers of that era. And they both wanted to top each other. I mean, you know, that's how it goes. When you've got a rivalry and a friendship, you want to say, hi, I'm the best on this day. And they gave it their all every play. And you can see a few times they get kind of testy with each other. Because when they were on the field, it was all about being the best and being a winner. But off the field, they remembered those days from when they first met in physiology class at Ohio State, and they had that bond that really built from that time on, and they still do to this day.
Once you're a Buckeye all your life.
Paul, why don't you go ahead, pal?
And this is indicative of that situation. Paul and I could literally go 30 years and not see each other and be brothers.
It's been a while that we've been in a setting like this for several hours, and playing golf is good, renewing the relationship. All right.
He never misses. Good shot, Paul.
Thank you.
You know, we're from relatively smaller towns and from Ohio State.
Paul Warfield, 1983.
To think that we both ended up in the Hall of Fame, it blows my mind, really. And he will always be my very dear friend.
Mr. Warfield, sir, I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.